Start. So today we'll be talking about the drugs that are coming in amoebiasis. Yesterday we discussed the classification of the drugs that are used in amoebiasis. Today we'll get into the details of the drugs. Now, first of all, the main drug that comes or is used in amoebiasis will be metronidazole. Now, metronidazole is a drug that is classified under nitroimidazoles. Okay, you will in some textbooks you will find them as nitroimidazoles. इसके अंदर आता metronidazole रिकॉर्ड हो रहा. Yeah, so you have metronidazole, tinidazole, onidazole, secnidazole and nimorazole. ठीक है, some of the examples that come under nitroimidazoles. All of their mechanism of action will be the same. Secnidazole, razole. Okay. Now, as such, what this drug does is, so this only acts in anaerobic organisms, be it bacteria or whether it is parasite, right? So, one second, are trying to come in. Right. So let's suppose we talk about metronidazole. Only works on anaerobic organisms. Right. There is a reason why it only works on anaerobes. Now, anaerobes have a specialty that they will produce one particular enzyme called nitroreductase. Okay? Anaerobes are able to produce an enzyme called nitroreductase. Why is this enzyme important? Metronidazole, once it gets inside the bacteria or it gets inside the parasite, it will get converted from its original form to an active metabolite using this enzyme. So this enzyme which is present inside the anaerobe, it can be a bacteria or in our case right now it's a parasite, amoeba. Okay? What this fellow will do is it will convert metronidazole into an active compound, into its active metabolite. This active metabolite is able to bind with DNA of the what do you call DNA of the parasite or DNA of the bacteria, and it will inhibit protein synthesis. That is one thing it will do. Second is it will disrupt energy metabolism. So the anaerobe will not be able to use the energy it is being that is it is producing, and it will not let energy be produced itself in the parasite. So I'll repeat once again. Once a metronidazole is entering into an anaerobe, a metronidazole only works in anaerobes. Okay, it is completely useless against aerobes. I'll give you the list of anaerobes against it works. um, Now once it gets inside either a parasite or bacteria, दोनों में use कर सकते हैं. Metronidazole will get converted into its active metabolite. That active metabolite is converted using a particular enzyme called nitroreductase. This nitroreductase is only present in anaerobic bacteria. That is why it is only working against anaerobes. Aerobic bacteria do not have nitroreductase, hence metronidazole will not work in them. Using nitroreductase, metronidazole that is getting converted into its active compound, that active compound elicits two functions. One is it will binds with DNA of organism and inhibits protein synthesis. That is one thing it will do. Second thing it will do is it disrupts energy metabolism of the pathogen. ठीक है, bacteria or parasite. Because of a disruption of energy metabolism, it literally means that one thing, the pathogen will not be able to make energy. Second is it will not be able to use energy. In any case, it will not be able to metabolize energy. Because of that, the organism will die. Okay, that is the mechanism of action of metronidazole. Technically speaking, all nitroimidazoles will have the same mechanism of action. So metronidazole, tinidazole, lonidazole, secnidazole, nimodazole, ये पूरों का action same रहता, mechanism of action. Okay, I hope you understood the mechanism of action. If you have doubts, please let me know. Now, coming to the organisms that it will work on. So, अगर हम if we talk about, let's suppose, parasites itself, it can work on amoeba. So obviously it is used in amoebiasis. That is why it can work on trichomonas vaginalis, trichomoniasis जो cause करता. It can work against giardia. Okay, giardiasis cause करता है. Giardia lamblia is a parasite. Okay, it will work against anaerobic bacteria. Now those bacteria include, this is the spectrum of the drug. Okay, so in some textbooks you'll find this as spectrum. I'm just giving it as such, but this is the spectrum of the drug, what all it will cover. It can work on Bacteroides fragilis. Okay, it will work on, just write it as B fragilis, capital B. It can work on Clostridium difficile. I'm not sure whether you've come across Clostridium difficile or not, but this is an infection, the pseudomembranous colitis बोल के cause करता है ये. The patient will have diarrhea and dysentery. Generally क्या होता, whenever you give broad spectrum antibiotics like tetracyclines, macrolides and all, and you use them improperly, meaning when the patient does not need tetracycline and macrolides or any other broad spectrum antibiotic, you are giving that to patient, creating antibiotic resistance. The result will be that your gut bacteria will die, and that gut bacteria, you will also have Clostridium difficile in your gut, but the thing is that your gut bacteria are suppressing the pathogenicity of Clostridium difficile. Whenever you give a broad spectrum antibiotic, those gut bacteria will die, because of which Clostridium difficile is able to produce a disease state. It is able to produce its pathogenicity. That is how patients who are on broad spectrum antibiotics, especially for long cases and when it is not indicated, indication का मतलब वहां पर जरूरत है, it is needed there, ठीक है, it is indicated there. Non-indicated drugs will be those when you are giving it non-therapeutically, meaning it should not be used there and you are using it improperly. ठीक है, antibiotic resistance आने का reason वो है. In those patients, you will see Clostridium difficile infection. It will cause pseudomembranous colitis, okay, inflammation of your colon. So that is one. You can use it against H. pylori. H. pylori is responsible for gastric ulcers. You know that already. It can be used for Campylobacter. It can be used against spirochetes. So Troponema pallidum, which causes syphilis. You can give metronidazole, but generally penicillins and all are preferred. You can give metronidazole as well. It will work. You can give it for anaerobic strep. You have an anaerobic strain of streptococcus as well. उनके against काम आता है ये drug. Now, as such, these are some of the bacteria and parasites against whom metronidazole will work. As such, the dose of metronidazole that is given is around, you will get different tablets. You will get 200 mg tablets, 400 mg tablets. As such, you will give 500 mg OD to TDS, depending on the patient's condition, depending on the severity of the condition, depending on the age of the patient, बहुत सारे अलग-अलग factors है. But as such, this is the dosage. Okay, if you are giving IV infusion specifically, you will have a 100 ml vial in which 500 mg of the drug will be dissolved. Specifically, if we talk about the PK of the drug, this drug gets absorbed almost completely from your small intestine. It's and it reaches some very good concentration in bodily fluids, especially in vaginal secretions, in semen, in CSF and saliva. So if you have any infection, especially agar anaerobic infection of any of these parts of your body, you can use metronidazole. Okay, it undergoes liver metabolism and urinary excretion. Okay, T half is around 8 hours. All right. Now coming to specific adverse effects that are related to metronidazole. As such, there are a few common symptoms and common side effects and some uncommon ones as well. Common ones include abdominal pain, metallic taste in mouth. Okay. You will have anorexia. Patient will not eat, and the patient will also have abdominal cramps. Okay. These are the common ones that you see. If you use IV, if you use the drug as IV, uh, IV use leads to peripheral neuropathy sometimes. As such, ये drug जो है, it is not exactly used in case if there are a few contraindications to the drug. It is contraindicated in pregnancy. It is contraindicated in neurological disorders. If the patient has a neurological disease, उन लोग के अंदर नहीं देते. Or if the patient has bloody dyscrasias, blood dyscrasias का मतलब है uh, problems in the blood. Literally it will translate to anemia is a blood dyscrasia या फिर leukemia is a blood dyscrasia. वैसे patients को नहीं देते. Okay, so contraindicated in pregnancy. It is not given in neurological diseases. Patient already has neurological disease के अंदर contraindicated है. You should not give it with alcohol. Complete contraindication with alcohol. ठीक है. Chronic alcoholism में बिल्कुल भी मत दो, because this drug has a disulfiram like action. If you remember, when we long ago we discussed about disulfiram. Disulfiram is a drug that will cause, generally it is used as a rehabilitation drug for alcoholism. Let's suppose you know there is a person who is alcoholic and they come to you. You are in a rehab center, and let's suppose as a rehab nurse, you give them disulfiram thinking that they will drink alcohol later on. Disulfiram क्या करता? It will cause extreme nausea, fever, shivering, and vomiting as soon as it comes across alcohol. इसका मतलब क्या है? Whenever a patient is on disulfiram, if they drink alcohol, they will have such a reaction. The idea is behind that is, if they have such a reaction, they will relate it psychologically to drinking alcohol and they'll stop drinking alcohol. Okay, I'll repeat once again. Metronidazole has a disulfiram-like action. Whenever a patient is drinking alcohol in the presence of disulfiram, the patient will have severe vomiting, fever, chills. The patient will start sweating profusely. They might even faint. Okay, that is a disulfiram reaction in the presence of alcohol. That is why metronidazole is contraindicated in the presence of alcohol and blood dyscrasias. Dyscrasias का मतलब है blood problems. It can be anemia, it can be leukemia, it can be any other type of blood problem. Okay, hemophilia, whatever it is. Now, at very very high doses, metronidazole can cause seizures. Okay. If the solution is not diluted enough, if you are giving IV, if the solution is not properly diluted, it can lead to thrombophlebitis at the site of injection. The blood vessel will swell and there'll be inflammation there. Sometimes you will also see some other side effects like headache, glossitis. Glossitis is inflammation of the tongue. Okay, dry mouth, dizziness, and rashes. They are less common, but they can occur in some patients. Okay. Now, as such, there are a few very important drug interactions of metronidazole. Now, if you remember, we have discussed about microsomal enzyme inhibitors. We know what are microsomal enzymes. I hope you know what are microsomal enzymes. These are enzymes that are participating in the metabolism of several drugs. There are a few drugs that will cause inhibition and induction of this enzyme. Meaning, inhibition मतलब उन लोगों का enzyme production नहीं होता. Induction मतलब enzyme production ज़्यादा होता. So there are a few drugs that can influence the rate of induction, or they can influence rate of inhibition. Those are called what do you call microsomal enzyme inhibitors, or they are called microsomal enzyme inducers, depending on whatever they do. Cimetidine is a H2 blocker. It's an antihistamine drug that is given for allergy. You can give it for ulcers. ठीक है, वो पूरा में यूज करते हैं. If you remember ranitidine, cimetidine, famotidine, वो पूरे अपन पढ़े थे. This drug, this drug is a microsomal enzyme inhibitor. Microsomal enzyme inhibitor. If you give this drug with metronidazole, because metronidazole is relying on hepatic metabolism, specifically it will use these microsomal enzymes, the result will be that metabolism of what do you call metronidazole is decreased. इसका effect क्या होता? Metronidazole gets accumulated in body. So rather than accumulated, you can also say that it is staying in your body for a longer period of time. ठीक है? You have some X drug. Let's suppose there is an enzyme E. ठीक है? There is some X drug that you give that is what you call decreasing the level of this enzyme. Now this enzyme is essential for metabolism of some Y drug. ठीक है? This is a drug and this is a drug. This is the enzyme. Okay, we have some X drug and we have a Y drug. Y drug depends on the enzyme to get metabolized. X drug is a type of drug that can inhibit the production of this enzyme. Meaning, if you put it practically, what will happen is if you give X in the presence of Y, the metabolism of Y will decrease because Y is dependent on the enzyme. अगर X के साथ दिए तो X का enzyme level कम हो जा रहा, because of which metabolism of Y will take longer, meaning it will stay in your body for a longer period of time, meaning there is a higher chance of the patient getting side effects and adverse effects. ठीक है, that is the correlation. I hope you understood. ठीक है, यहाँ पर X drug is microsomal enzyme inhibitor, so something like cimetidine. These enzymes are microsomal enzymes and Y is metronidazole. ठीक है, यहाँ पर क्या होता है, if you give a microsomal enzyme inhibitor like cimetidine with metronidazole, the metabolism of metronidazole decreases, because of which it will start getting accumulated in the body. The action you have to do is whenever you're giving a microsomal enzyme inhibitor with metronidazole in its presence concurrently, decrease the dose of metronidazole. Okay, so that is about metronidazole. Now we'll talk about another drug. I hope you understood on the details of metronidazole. If you have doubts, please let me know. Now, next drug, diloxanide furoate. Now, diloxanide furoate will act directly on trophozoites. It will not act on cysts. Okay, only it can only kill your what do you call trophozoite stage rather than cystic stage. Generally, you will give diloxanide furoate as a subcutaneous injection, or you can give it as a intramuscular injection as well. Now, as such, this drug is not preferred because there is excessive toxicity associated with diloxanide furoate. You will not give this drug. You will not use emetin and dihydroemetin very often as well. Okay, there is a lot of what do you call toxicity associated with those drugs. That is why they are not preferred nowadays. As such, there are other alternatives. That is why you're not giving them. Okay. Then we have another drug called quinidochlor. ठीक है, quinidochlor जो है quinidochlor will come in a type of, how should I put it? Technically, it is a class of drugs. Okay, अलग class of drugs है, उन लोगों को 8-hydroxyquinolones बोलते हैं. ठीक है, you will have several drugs in this. You will have iodoquinol, you will have quinidochlor, you will have iodohydroxyquin. ठीक है, but generally the most safest drug in this is also a dangerous class of drugs. इसमें safest drug will be diiodohydroxyquin. ठीक है, so the safest drug in this that can be used in amoebiasis is diiodohydroxyquin. Now, ये drug का mechanism of action is not known. Okay, so it is advantageous to you. There is no mechanism of action, but it will kill the cyst. What we do know is that this drug or these drugs that belong to 8-hydroxyquinolones, these drugs are capable of killing the cyst in the intestine itself, but they do not have any effect on intracellular forms or extra intestinal forms. Okay? They can only be used as luminal amibicides. They cannot be used for extra intestinal forms. Matlab, if you have a trophozoites that are entering into your systemic circulation and moving here and out, here and there, उसमें डाइआयोडो हाइड्रोक्सिक्विन काम नहीं आता. Okay, only kills cysts in intestine. So it's a luminal amibicide. Amibicide. Okay. As such, this is a safe drug, but it gets absorbed very low amount of drug gets absorbed. Only around 10 to 30% of the drug gets absorbed. Percent absorbed. Now, as such, this drug undergoes liver metabolism and urinary excretion. T half is around 12 hours. Okay. Specific side effects that are associated with this include, just write them down. Side effects, you have nausea, transient loose and green stools, loose and green stools. You have to inform the patient about this. Okay, if they start panicking, one side effect of dihydrohydroxyquin is the patient might have loose stools and it might be green in color. Okay, they might have pruritus, itching. Now these drugs, 8-hydroxyquinolones, they have a iodine base, especially dihydrohydroxyquin. Because of that, what happens is some patients will develop a goiter. It can cause iodism if you use it for a long period of time. Dihydrohydroxyquin can cause iodism. Iodism is literally iodine poisoning. As such, अगर iodism भी नहीं हुआ तो the patients might have goiter on prolonged usage. Okay. The dose that you give is around 650 mg TDS. All right. Then there is the last class that is used in amoeba, which is tetracyclines. Chloroquine to already अपन पढ़े anti-malaria में. Tetracyclines mechanism of action will remain the same. यहाँ पर generally you use the higher end of the tetracycline, meaning you will use around 250 mg, one time a day or 3 times a day, depending on the patient's condition. You will change that, but tetracycline generally you will give a higher dose अगर आप use कर रहे हैं in this thing, क्या बोलते हैं, in amoebiasis. All right. So that concludes our amoebiasis, the drugs used in amoebiasis. Now coming to leishmaniasis. Now leishmaniasis जो है, it is caused by 3 different organisms. Normally जो कालाजार बोलते हैं, you have visceral leishmaniasis. The patient will have black colored nodules and black colored, the skin will become black colored, discoloration. That is caused by Leishmania donovani. Okay, that is the more common one, and it generally occurs in tropical and subtropical areas, India, Brazil, and all, Africa as well. It is transmitted by sandfly. Okay, you have a phlebotomous genus बोल के एक रहता है, type of sandfly है. That sandfly is capable of transmitting this parasite. Now, as such, again, like malaria, inside the sandfly, the parasite will have its sexual phase. Okay, so sexual life cycle in sandfly. Specifically, it will have a flagellate form. That flagellate form is called promastigote. Okay. In humans, sexual life cycle. In humans, this is a non-flagellate form which is called amastigote. Our goal whenever a patient gets leishmaniasis is to kill amastigote. Okay. It will generally be intracellular. This is extracellular. This will not invade into the cells. Humans के अंदर it is intracellular. It will invade into the cells of the human. Generally, this fella will invade into the macrophages and it will sit nicely inside the macrophage of the human. Okay, there are other variants of leishmaniasis as well. You will have Leishmania brasiliensis, which causes mucocutaneous leishmaniasis, or dermal leishmaniasis is caused by Leishmania tropica. They are not as common, at least not in India. In India, you will find leishmaniasis is very common in certain states. In Karnataka, Bihar especially, both common hai. Andhra Pradesh, you will find a little bit of it in Madhya Pradesh as well. Now, as such, the drugs that are given in leishmaniasis can be categorized into four ways. So, four categories drugs used. There will be antimonials. इसमें आता आपका सोडियम स्टिबोग्लूकोनेट, स्टिबोग्लूकोनेट, ठीक है. This is also called SSG. Then we have diamides, diamidine. This is pentamidine is the drug in this. Then we have a few antifungals that can be used. Specifically, you can use amphotericin B and you can use ketoconazole. Okay? Just abbreviating them. You can use some others as well. इसमें the more commonly used is paramomycin. You have others as well. You will have miltefosine and allopurinol, but they are not used as much. Miltefosine. Miltefosine is not technically used in India. It is technically banned in India. That is why it's not used. Then there is allopurinol. Okay. Anyway, the more common one in this will be paramomycin. Now, coming to the first drug, sodium stevogluconate जो है, this drug has been used for leishmaniasis for a long time, and nowadays the problem is that SSG, the parasite itself has developed resistance to SSG, especially in North Bihar, where the incidence of disease is very high. Bihar is a state which is endemic to leishmaniasis. There are a lot of cases of leishmaniasis there, and what we do know is that parasites nowadays that are coming, the new strains of leishmaniasis, they are resistant to SSG. Almost 60% of cases of leishmaniasis that you see in Bihar, they are SSG resistant. Okay. Mechanism of action of SSG is not known, but what we do know is that it is hypothesized. Okay, so we'll talk about SSG first. MOA is unclear. What is hypothesized about this drug is that it will possibly what you call inhibit enzymes, certain enzymes, the thiol dependent enzymes रहते हैं, SH group रहता है उन लोगों के अंदर. It will inhibit those enzymes and it will mess up the bioenergetics of the parasite. Bioenergetics का मतलब it will not let the parasite perform fatty acid oxidation, and it will not allow the parasite to perform glycolysis. This is the hypothesis, okay, how SSG works. We don't know it for clear, but what is thought is that it will block fatty acid synthesis and it will block glycolysis, because of which the parasite will not have any energy and it will ultimately die. Now, as such, this drug gets rapidly absorbed. You will generally give intramuscular of the drug. PK. Drug gets absorbed rapidly. Okay. Excreted unchanged in urine, meaning it does not undergo metabolism. Excreted unchanged in urine within 6 to 12 hours. Okay. Now, normally the dose that you give of SSG is around 850 mg per day. Okay. Maximum dose जो है, you will give around 20 mg per kg. Maximum is 850 mg, not more than 850 mg in one day. You can divide the dose. You will continue this either IM or IV. IM or IV for 20 to 30 days. Okay. Now, as such, this drug You will adjust the duration 20 to 30 days to bole, but sometimes it will increase as well, in the sense that if the patient is still being affected by leishmaniasis, you will have to invariably increase the dosage. ठीक है, dosage बढ़ाने से ज़्यादा I would say treatment duration बढ़ाना पड़ता, ठीक है, depending on whether or not the patient is क्या बोलते हैं, still having symptoms. ये कैसा determine करते बोले तो you will perform splenic or bone marrow aspirate. What you do is you do a kind of biopsy. You will stick a needle inside the patient's spleen or a bone marrow. You will withdraw a little bit of fluid and you will check for parasites. Agar parasites hai after 20-30 days, you will continue the drug. If there are no parasites, then you consider that the patient is cured of leishmaniasis. Okay, I'll repeat once again. Before you stop the drug, now deciding the duration of the dosage or duration of the drug, what you do is you will perform a bone marrow aspirate or you will perform a splenic aspirate. You will technically do a form of biopsy. You will withdraw a little bit of fluid from bone marrow or you withdraw a little bit of fluid from spleen, and you will check for presence of parasites. Because these are intracellular organisms in humans, if the parasite is not seen in those fluids, it generally means that the patient is cured of what you call the parasite and you can stop the drug. Okay, then we have pentamidine. Now as such, this drug is, it is a little toxic. It will cause side effects that are associated with SSG include metallic taste. See, it is technically formed by a metal. Antimony से बना रहे, stibum बोले तो antimony से बना रहे, तो it will have metallic taste in mouth. It can cause metallic taste in mouth. It can cause cough, abdominal pain, nausea and vomiting. It can lead to ECG changes. Generally avoid this drug with antiarrhythmics. Okay, if you give a high enough dose, it can lead to myelosuppression as well, meaning it will suppress your bone marrow. Okay, at high doses, it can also cause liver and kidney damage. Sometimes there will be sterile abscesses. Sterile abscesses का मतलब there is a collection of fluid, but it does not have any parasitic organisms. In this case, sterile abscesses are formed as a result of the drug, not due to the parasite. That abscess will not have any pathogen in it. Okay? It can also cause mental symptoms, psychiatric symptoms, that is. But still, this is a better drug when compared to amphotericin B or pentamidine. Though those two are much more toxic compared to this. Okay, pentamidine is another drug that is used in leishmaniasis. I will discuss about that. Pentamidine. ये ड्रग जो है, इसका mechanism of action is also unclear. ठीक है, what we do know is that it might interact with DNA. ठीक है, DNA of the parasite. Specifically, it will inhibit topoisomerases. Topoisomerases is a very important enzyme that is responsible for unwinding of the DNA. अब आपके पास अगर डबल स्टैंडर्ड डीएनए है, ऐसा डीएनए है समझो, before it can replicate, this should unwind. Matlab, this winding which is present, it should straighten out. Okay, this unwinding is facilitated by topoisomerases. Generally, unwinding and rewinding. एक बार replication हो गया, let's suppose a new DNA is formed like this from the template, you will have it go back to the original state. That is also facilitated by the same enzyme, topoisomerases. What is hypothesized is that pentamidine will interact with parasitic DNA and it will inhibit topoisomerases, and it also has a role in inhibiting aerobic glycolysis. Okay, that is how it is causing death of the parasite. Now, as such, pentamidine can be obviously used in leishmaniasis, but you can also use it in trypanosomiasis. Trypanosomiasis is sleeping sickness. ठीक है, trypanosoma से जो होता tsetse fly से spread होता, so you can use it in trypanosomiasis. You can use it in pneumocystis jirovecii. Pneumocystis jirovecii is a particular pathogen that causes pneumonia in AIDS patients. ठीक है, उसमें use कर सकते हैं. You can also use it in a few bacterial and fungal infections. Now, as such, the dose of pentamidine that you give is around 4 mg per kg. 4 mg per kg. You'll generally give intramuscular. If you are giving it as IV, give it very slowly over 1 hour. Okay. Normally you give IM. If giving IV, give it very slow over 1 hour. Okay. Almost equal to infusion, but very very slow IV. And you will give it on alternate days. Okay. Because the drug is so toxic, you will have to give it only on alternative days. Drug is given on alternative days. The therapy will continue for 5 to 15 weeks. ठीक है. Now when do you stop the drug? इसको stop करने के लिए again you will have to perform splenic or bone marrow aspirate which should be clean. But यहाँ पर condition क्या है? Let's suppose after giving the drug for 12 weeks. ठीक है. Let's suppose you have given the drug for 12 weeks continuously and now you are thinking that the patient might be cured of leishmaniasis. You will perform a bone marrow aspirate. ठीक है. Let's suppose you are performing a bone marrow or splenic aspirate. ठीक है. आप splenic aspirate perform करें. This came out clear, meaning this did not have any parasites. You will wait for another 2 weeks. During these 2 weeks, you'll keep continuing the drug, okay? And you will perform another splenic aspirate here after 2 weeks. If this comes out clear as well, that is when you stop the drug. So the protocol is before you stop the drug, the patient should show 2 splenic aspirates which are clean without any parasites, which are 2 weeks apart. ठीक है. 2 week दूर आप 2 splenic aspirates लेंगे and those splenic aspirates should come out clean. That is when you stop the drug. Okay, that is when you conclude that the patient has been cured, and that is when you stop the drug. Okay, generally it enters into tissues very very quickly once you have entered it, especially into liver and kidney, and it can be stored for months together inside the liver and kidney. Okay, it will be excreted very very slowly through your urine. Toxicity is specifically high for pentamidine. It because it is a base, it will cause histamine release, and histamine release होने की वजह से it will cause an allergic reaction. मतलब it will cause peripheral vasodilation. The result will be that BP will fall sharply. There is significant hypertension. There is cardiovascular collapse. The patient might faint. There will be palpitation, vomiting, fever might develop. The patient might go into rigor whenever you give pentamidine. There are a lot of side effects associated with pentamidine. It will cause a lot of ECG changes as well. So you have to avoid it with arrhythmias. And generally when you give intramuscular, that local tissue where you are giving intramuscular, that might show necrosis. Okay, that area might show necrosis. So we'll continue with pentamidine tomorrow. We have a little bit of time left.